Hey, this is Christine, your DIY craftaholic. Welcome back if you are returning, and welcome to you if you are new. This video is a part of the Easter Spring Mystery Box swap, and here I'll just be sharing with you the items I received in my box. I have a note on there. It says, "Hello Christine, connecting with other crafters. It's an amazing way to share our creative ideas. I'm really enjoying watching your videos. Keep up the good work, Miriam." Thank you so much, Miriam. I really appreciate that. And I too have enjoyed meeting up with crafters. I never thought I would have met so many crafters, and you're all talented. This is a roll of ribbon. So this is a shadow box filled with a lot of glitter, and this is a flower pick and some small beads, some craft sticks, jumbo craft sticks, some sticker packs, alphabet stickers and truck stickers, and a stretch canvas. Now, as I'm looking at these, my mind is going, how am I going to do these? But anyway, so here I'm showing you what they are again, and now let's get crafting. So this is a picture of all the items I received in my box. This is now DIY number 1. I'm using the shadow box first, and I removed the back and emptied the contents from the inside. Now my plan was to reuse those shiny things, but I left them on top of a cupboard or a counter and it turned over, so that was the end of that. So I took a sharp tool and I'm just rubbing off the paint from the glass. And here I'm taking some of the craft sticks and I cut them down with my miter shear. And I'm just lining them up against the ruler just to make sure that they're straight. Then I glued on 2 pieces at the back. This is what's going to be the back. So after I glued them together, I took some antique wax, Waverly antique wax, and diluted that, and a small paintbrush, and just brushed that on, and then used a baby wipe to wipe off the excess. And then I painted it with some acrylic white paint. I gave it 2 coats, very light coats, and then blow dried it with my heat gun, because I'm doing all of this in one sitting and I couldn't wait for it to dry. And then I'm just glossing over with some Mod Podge. And of course drying that again. Now it's time to add my sticker. I'm taking the truck and I placed that in the middle. Now it looked a little bare to me, so I said, okay, let me just add something else. So I took one of the craft stick, cut that down, and then I just glued that on at the bottom there, and then replaced the truck. Put that back in the frame, added the back, and I actually just turned the back over and glued that on top of it, because of course I'm not wasting anything. I'm trying to use everything. I thought about leaving it as is, but then the piece at the back didn't look too nice, so here I'm just trying to use the white marker that's from Dollar Tree. That wasn't working, and then I went with some white paint and that didn't look too good, and so I cut down some more of the craft sticks at a 45-degree angle. I'm just using the miter shear to do that. And I cut 4 pieces and then glued them onto the back. And here we have it all glued on. So I just took some of the hot glue and placed it in the corners. And then the string, I didn't remove that, I left it as is, but it was too broad, so I decided to just fold it in two and glue it down. Now to cover the space between the craft sticks and the frame, I'm using some twine, jute twine. I doubled the twine and just wrapped it around my finger. Now about the mystery box swap. I want to thank Tammy for hosting this challenge. Now we were asked to send 8 to 10 items to the person whose name was drawn for us, and then we were to record ourselves opening the box and then do our crafts. Now the person who sent me my box was Miriam with Craft with Miriam. You can check her out. So now let's move on to DIY number 2. Here I am using the craft sticks. So I laid out 9 of these, and I'm just taking some tacky glue from Dollar Tree as well as some hot glue, and I'm gluing them together, not in an even fashion but jaggedly. And once I had those all glued together, I cut off the tips from 2 of the craft sticks, and I'm using those to hold all the others together. And to fill the holes or to fill the spaces, I'm taking some spackle and I'm just rubbing that on, and then when it was dried, I use my sanding block to just sand off the roughness or the excess. And then here I am going in with some white paint, acrylic white paint, and I gave that 2 light coats. And then once it was dried properly, I flipped it over and I used some Waverly Antique wax. I didn't want the back to be white, so I used the stain to just stain the wood to give it that natural look. And then a little of it got to the front, so I had to paint that over. So I purchased this large 24-piece stencil set from Amazon, and this is now going for $5.99. It has very large lettering that you can use to make porch signs. I'll leave a link in my description box below. So I selected the rabbit and I'm just placing it down on the board, and I use some pink cameo as well as pink parfait to mix those two together. And use a large sponge dabber to put that on. And when I was done and satisfied with the color, I then dried it a little bit and then removed the stencil and dried it again, making sure that it was properly dry. So now it's all dry. I took the baker's twine and wrapped it around my finger a couple times to make a small finger bow. Then once I had that done, I added some Mod Podge before, because once you put the Mod Podge, once you start adding stuff, it's gonna be harder to put the Mod Podge on at that time. So here I then took a piece of the twine and I'm just gluing it down from the top of his neck to the base of his chin, and that's to give him like a collar. And then I just glued on the bow. And here I have the beads. Now there are many ways I thought of using this bead. But I figured once I'd cut them in 2, and I took the miter shear and just cut them in halves. And then I'm just taking 1/2 and I'm gluing that down on top of the bow for the rabbit. And then I decided to just glue on some halves right along the 2 sides in a straight line. And now it's all done. And then I took this marker, white marker, paint marker from the Dollar Tree, and I'm coloring in or shading in the ears. I then shaded in his tail and his eyes. So now I'm taking the pick, and here I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to be using this pick on this board. And then I decided to just cut the leaves off, and I settled on putting that at the top. It was too large, so I decided to just trim it down a little bit, and then I trimmed it down and glued it on. And I had to glue down the tips so that it would stay down because it was, you know, flying all over the place. And then here I'm just gluing down the flowers, 2 of the buds on top of that. So after I turned it over and glued on a piece of the twine at the back, I then took some pieces or 2 pieces of the half beads and glued those on top of the knot. And then here is where I looked at it now, and I'm like, this needs something else. So I took my gold marker from Dollar Tree and I decided to outline the rabbit and shade in the ears, color the eyes. I thought about doing the tail as well, but then I said no, I'll just leave it as is. And then the middle of the flowers were looking a little too dull, so I took some yellow paint and I painted those in. And I had these sticker letters. I selected the word bunny and I just peeled them and pasted them on. And I believe this little bunny sign is done. So now we're on to DIY number 2. Now for this one, or is this DIY number 3? I think it's DIY number 3, the last one. Yes. Now here I am trying to decide, okay, what am I going to be doing with this? So I took my Waverly Pool paint, chalk paint, and I thought that that would have given it a brighter color, but then when I looked at it, it says no, I need something else. So now if this is your first time to my channel, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back, and if you are coming over from the playlist, thank you so much for stopping by. Here on my channel I do DIYs on a budget, dupes, look for less, thrift flips, and some occasional Dollar Tree hauls. If you love budget-friendly DIYs like these and have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's free. And be sure to hit that notification bell. Hit it again and select all so that YouTube notifies you every time I upload a new video. So I took my celery, Waverly celery, and I just went over that, diluted a little bit and went over that, gave it 1 coat, and there I am watching videos at the time when I was crafting. So now it's all dried. Here I am again trying to decide, how am I going to do this? What am I doing? So I took my ruler and I just marked where I needed my letters to go. And I'm spelling out the word welcome spring. So I then took some Mod Podge and just sealed everything in, because at one point one of the letters started lifting, and that's when I decided no, I needed to seal it. So I took the ribbon and just made a simple bow by just folding down the ends and scrunching up the middle, and then take the baker's twine and wrapped that around it. After I made the bow, I just fold down the ends and dovetail that, and now I'm trying to decide how I'm going to be putting this on. So I took 2 leaves, glued those on, and then I cut another 2 leaves in halves and glued each half on either side, and then I glued down the ribbon on top of that and just use some of the hot glue to tack down the ends. Because the ribbon is so thick, it was like flaring too much, so I had to tack it down. And then I went to the bottom of that and I glued on the rest of the flowers, 3 pieces. And again, like I did for the other one, I just painted out the yellow part with some yellow paint. And made a small bow, another finger bow, and glued that on top of the ribbon or top of the bow. And then I used some of the beads again, just glued those on in the center of the bow, just for decorative purposes. And then I flipped it over and glued on a piece of the string at the back for hanging. And I believe this is done. And of all the DIYs, or the 3 DIYs, I believe that one is my favorite. So there you have it, guys. 3 DIYs that I used my items from my mystery box to make, and I believe that they turned out perfectly in my estimation. But you let me know which one of these is your favorite and how you think these turned out. Now don't forget to head on down to the playlist and the host channel. And if you'd like to connect with me, you can check my link tree in my description box for all the links that you can reach me at. And if you like content like this one, I suggest this video right here or this playlist. And be safe until next time. Bye.